Hello, my soul friends. I want to do a special video for you today because it's really connected so deep in my heart of something that I think needs to be talked about. Trauma. We talk about it, and for anyone in transformational healing, to be able to allow yourself to literally go through trauma is like death. It is scary. It is uncomfortable. It is so confusing. You're in complete fear. It's so uncomfortable of a place to be, especially for most humans that need some level of feeling grounded, secure, any of that stuff. And so I had this happened to me on my birthday, birthdays and Christmas and Thanksgiving. There's so much with trauma to understand. It's like you gotta put on an explorer hat and go dive in deep, because it's not a simple process. It's not something that happens overnight. And so on my birthday, what happened was, an event happened and it literally triggered something in my heart that, like, everything in me armored up, and I did not feel in control of my emotions at all. There was so much activity going on in my heart space, and as much as I wanted to get out of that experience, trying to get out of the experience only makes the trauma worse. So the best that you can do is actually, when you're going through and you're triggered, is just to be with it, and try not to react. But it's very difficult to not react in those moments, because when we're triggered, we're not our authentic selves, and we can become very impulsive. But my main reason for posting this today is because having the ability to hold space for ourselves when we're going through trauma, and having people in our lives that can hold space for us, literally is a difference between life and death. And I say that because in those moments of trauma, if you don't have anyone around or anyone that you can reach out to, the thoughts can start turning on yourself to, I'm wrong, what's wrong with me? A lot of times, like in this trauma, I fucking felt like I was losing everything. Like everything was being taken away from me. Like it's something spiritual that happens. That's why it's different for everyone, and it's hard to put into words, but it's not something to be fixed. If you're around someone that's having a trauma trigger, I know one of my dear friends had a trauma trigger around me. We were living together a couple years ago, and I did not respond in the way that I wanted to, because her trauma triggered my trauma. So in the moment, now you got two people running around with trauma and seeking to find peace and stability in those moments. It's like you're literally running around in the dark, and it's like there's a fire, but you don't know where it is. And it's very, that's one of the kind of visuals I can explain in the experience. You may have your own experiences of trauma. Many people, what I'm seeing in my world is, now that COVID's been going on for a while, people are coping to the best of their abilities, but they're putting on a mask that everything is fine when it's not. And it's clearly not, because especially for someone like myself, it's very sensitive to energy. I'm an empath. My empath abilities came as a form of survival growing up, because I was around people that were unsafe, that as a very young age, I had a lot of adult responsibilities, and one of them was taking care of myself fully. And it was in a dangerous time in the 80s. I remember, my Nana and I had a code word because it was the time of kidnapping. So I was out in the world, unprotected, didn't know who I could trust, had a lot of freedom in that way, because my mother was a single mom. So it caused me to be in new environments, meeting new people all the time, new places. And at that age, we're just so sensitive to energies also. That stuck with me. You can feel negative energy. There's the intuition kicks in. That's why I teach these things now. But it was something as a survival mechanism growing up. So being able to have this, first of all, being able to allow ourselves to feel our feelings. So that's what I'm seeing, is a lot of emotions being suppressed, not giving permission to feel the feelings. So there's people in my life who do not understand what goes on with me. I'm probably like a mystery to them, because I really, especially in the last 5 years, have honored my healing journey so much that it has nothing to do with anyone. Like it's not, it is literally my commitment to myself. And in that commitment to myself is my greatest contribution to humanity and my greatest contribution to my loved ones. Because if I don't work out this shit, I'm either projecting it, I'm contagious with the energy, any of that stuff. And people are doing this all the time. And that's why empaths like us have to learn these abilities of not taking on other people's energy. When we're getting triggered, being able to self-soothe ourselves and have abilities to hold loving, compassionate space for ourselves. And when we do that, when we cultivate that, then we have this ability to hold space for others, to not take it personally, to give them their space, to be able to learn, to be able to have some wisdom from witnessing the space that we're holding for this person in our lives going through their own journey. Unfortunately, on my birthday, I made a choice to spend time with someone that didn't have the capacity to hold space for me. And my trauma was triggered, and I was trying to put myself in a different environment to shift the energy. But it just goes to show, like, it doesn't matter if that's your energy, it's gonna go where you go. So I had this experience where I thought I was walking into a really safe and nurturing home, and it wasn't, of a friend, and it wasn't that experience. And it made the trauma worse. It triggered my friend as well. And it, rather than having, the ability for the trauma to bring, myself, some healing and my friend some healing, it was the opposite. But when we have two people that can hold space for what's happening, in that, within that energy of those two people, no matter what that relationship is, if we could just hold space for it, learn that two people create something. There's a third thing that's created with two people get together in a relationship. There's an essence. It's like imagine this ball, and like we contribute. When we're in relationship, we're not only contributing that person, we're contributing to this invisible energy that is being cultivated and sustaining that relationship. So when two people are not in physical presence with each other, how are you thinking about that person? How are you feeling about that person? All of that goes into this space. So there are times people in your life, right, you might not have seen each other for a week or something. You come back and they have a totally different mood or attitude towards you. That's why. It's because the space in between, they've been either making up thoughts in their head or feeling all these emotions that have to do with their own life and their own journey. And then they come back to the relationship with you, and you're like, wait a minute, what's off? Now these are going to be more authentic relationships. If you're in relationships that are not authentic, or, that have a lot of masks, then you're not going to get to this level of intimacy and depth in your relationships. That's why I'm sharing this story, as I'm someone that needs such deep level of connection with the people in my life. So I have a very tight circle of people that are like my close circle that are in my life. I love human beings. I love human beings. I love creatures, nature, all of that stuff. I love human beings. I don't like all human beings, and human beings can trigger a lot of shit out of me, hatred, anger, and all that stuff, because we're all humans. But I do love human beings. I love them because we're all one. That's who I am. That's who you are. But being a human being around other human beings, as we know, can be extremely overwhelming. So the more that we take care of ourselves and our energy, and we can hold space and soothe ourselves when we're allowing ourselves to have this space, got to create space to spend time with yourself, to be able to feel what you're feeling. And to be able to, once you start giving yourself that practice to feel what you're feeling, is being able to create. That's why it's so important to create sacred spaces, because whatever is going on in this inner world, in this body, in this mind, and in the heart, in the womb, whatever is going on in the inner, no matter how chaotic it may be, when we do have a sacred space, sacred invites divinity. Divinity is a cushion of unconditional love that can always be felt in moments of experiencing those emotions and the traumas that are being suppressed. And that can always be felt when we go back to our breath. I had this memory pop up not too long ago of this memory that I had no idea. I actually did meditate when I was a kid. My dear Grandma Jean Starr, give you a shout out. Just feeling her energy. I used to go visit my grandparents, and the neighbors had a swimming pool, and I would go to the swimming pool. My grandma loved snorkeling. She wanted me to snorkel. There was something in her. Piano and snorkeling. She wanted me to play the piano, and she wanted me to snorkel. Those were like the two big things. And sorry, Grandma, didn't follow through on the piano. And snorkeling, we'll see. That might be something that I go deeper into moving forward. I can definitely see that. But anyways, point being, I would swim around the swimming pool, and she would let me have the little snorkel. And so I would do this for like a good, 45 minutes, an hour. Like, I was so entertained, and there was nothing in the pool. There was no fish. There was no toys, nothing. I was mesmerized by literally just swimming around the perimeter of the pool and breathing. And I never knew that was actually me meditating until I recently came upon a description of Vipassana meditation, because Vipassana meditation, is something that came into my life and has really, if you're going to do anything in your life, do Vipassana meditation. Like, what I want to say, like, it cuts through all the different forms of healing modalities. Literally, Buddha is the one that discovered it. It's as a way of his own self-liberation and enlightenment. It's like the one-track path. So if you practice that in itself, Vipassana meditation is going to completely transform your life. And so I was reading a description of Vipassana meditation recently, and one of the entry points in learning how to begin breathing, they have retreats, Vipassana 10-day retreats you can go on. They're a pay-it-forward basis, and I've never been, but it definitely was something that I was seeking quite a while ago. I've instead chosen to do my own 30-day meditation challenges here and there, and then also just utilizing the breath work when trauma or something is needed. But basically what it describes is that the breathing, you close your eyes and you really just focus on your respiration. So just even imagining your chest when you're breathing, and imagining in a pool with a snorkel, you can hear your breathing, that respiration louder, it's amplified in the water. So that's what made it so meditative. So anyways, there's a lot of messages here. I just had some things to share, because in my own experience, the past like 48 hours, maybe 72 hours actually, have been really working through a lot of trauma. And as a Zen master teacher, I'm also a student, so I'm never above, any of these teachings. I'm constantly learning and practicing too. If I were only a teacher, I think that creates separation. But no, I'm a student also. I'm going through this. That's what makes me have this ability to relate to my clients and be so transparent. Not only my clients, just everyone in my life, because I'm not hiding anything. I'm not telling you how to live your life. I'm just showing you and sharing with you things that are working in my life. But it is, this this one, you know, I heard someone else describe this. Like, I literally almost couldn't move my body, like fetal position. The trauma was so deep inside my heart. It's like the energy is still there. It's still very potent. It's a very, very vulnerable open wound. And thank God I could reach out to the person I reached out to, because going somewhere, thought I was going into a safe and nurturing home, and it not being the case, just compounded the trauma, and made it really nearly unbearable to be with. So today I was able to do some breath work. I'm at the beach, of course, and so my head was able to clear and get myself back into a place, remembering the love that exists in my life. So trauma is showing up for people. You can't hide it anymore. It's just showing up. But let's have conversations about it, because these are really, really important conversations to have. Feel free to reach out if you're experiencing trauma, if you're wanting to understand more about yourself or your own healing journey. Feel free to reach out. Again, I am a Zen warrior in my journey. And the cool thing is every time, it is worth this work, as hard as it is, as fucking hard as it is. It's totally worth it, because things change in our lives. We continue to evolve. New relationships, new people, places and things to explore, new aspects of ourselves to be realized. Not only new relationships, but new depths of levels of the relationships that already exist. Anyone that knows me really well. I'm super reflective, and birthdays, really, I start feeling it about a month in advance. I start feeling the energy of, the reflection of another year, and taking the time to really honor this life. I definitely, had this trauma, totally triggered death for me, and suicide. And I literally feel like I've done this review of my life again, having conversations with God and my dream team and my counsel of if I died today, where would I be with that? These are opportunities in our life to really go deep and have conversations with ourselves and the people in our life that we don't normally have, beyond just the surface things. And I know many people, I think that everyone craves more emotional intimacy and depth. I think it's just a matter of really sharing ourselves, and providing what's working for us, and what it means to have emotional depth, and what it means to allow yourself to feel all your feelings. Can you feel my energy? It's so different than just putting a smile on my face and making sure everything's great, and I'm eating great, and I'm looking great, and I'm working out great, and I'm my life looks great, all the stuff that social media shows you. People put their best reels, dude. I'm not like that. If you follow me, you're gonna get the real deal. You're gonna feel my anger. You're gonna feel my sadness. You're gonna feel my sorrow. That's why it takes, I think that's why it takes a certain level of a kind of person to be in my life, because to be in my life is to be emotionally intimate, to be transparent, to be real. And that's definitely something that my shadow has taught me too. So, all right. With that said, I love you. I love me. And we are all healing together. We are all healing together. So have a blessed day, one breath at a time. Till next time, I'll see you again soon.